patient and understanding is not fighting every day. You know who needs an emergency power order? BPL. Of course, I'm joking. BPL is a very progressive company. You know how America has Black History Month? Well, in their own way, BPL has been celebrating Black history for decades. Ah, the planet on fire, consumed with what just transpired. This weekend was the Super Bowl. I don't know. I don't follow sports. I'm not even sure why this is in the script. At this point, I'm sure because it's Monday, there was a game on Sunday, I assume between one or more people. One of them won, unless it's like a football game in Gotham, then the only real winner is the guy who owns the one steampunk costume shop. In other news, country singer Morgan Wallen was suspended from his label after using the N-word in a video. To which I say, who's this nigga? I mean, I would love to be offended, but I have to save some of my disapproval for people that actually impact my life. Other things happen in the world, but honestly, I mean, it literally only gets worse. Between the horrible things happening with the Uyghurs in China and Russia expelling diplomats because of Alexei Navalny, the least concerning thing that happened in the world this week is more testing in the UK for the new South African variant of the novel coronavirus. Of course, the country that brought us overpriced diamonds and apartheid felt that we hadn't been paying enough attention to them in a while. Please, someone close the door. You're letting the fire in. Local news, or as we like to call it here, what's Minus up to? The nurses protested in front of Parliament on Wednesday about the pay that they were promised, and in completely, totally different news, the Prime Minister took the back way into the House of Assembly. But I am sure those two things have nothing to do with each other. Anyway, several days and protests later, the nurses, while in front of the Prime Minister's office, were promised by Minus that they would be paid. Now, where have they heard that before? The cold front is finally over, and I'm sure you're saying to yourself, how is that Minus's fault? I don't know, but I'm sure it is. It was never this cold when Perry Christie was Prime Minister. I remember we used to make jokes and say, Perry must run the sun hot. But Minus is a cold lord. While in Hope Town on Friday, Minus revealed that the government is completing legislation to legalize medicinal marijuana. And in response, many Bahamians said, feeling a little under the weather. The other punchline to that was, when we said bush medicine, that's not the bush we meant. Oh, Minus. House of Mochi is designed from the F&M, but will remain the Speaker of the House of Assembly. I mean, he is so brave to not give up that $80,000 a year salary. How will Mochi be remembered? Well, we can remember him for the fact that he doesn't think that rape can occur if you involve a priest and jewelry. Or the time that he thought, instead of fighting for better living conditions for his constituents, he should just, buy them a $20 hand pump from Kelly's. Or the time that he threatened to turn in the keys to the office of the Speaker of the House of Assembly because he didn't have a working bathroom or running water. Ironically, is also something that many of his constituents deal with. Or perhaps we could remember him for the time that he had a 32-minute rant at the media and threatened to send them to Jesus. Lead them to Jesus if they came for him. Or his fear of social media. Or the time when he told the leader of the opposition, my wife is an indigenous Bahamian woman and I have never in those 38 years had a reason to divorce her. I mean, if anything, that's kind of an indictment against Moultrie because Davis's wife can leave the country but chooses to stay with him, whereas poor Miss Moultrie probably doesn't know that independence has happened yet, and we are all now free. Perhaps we could remember the Speaker for how he chose to treat one of the few women in the House of Assembly, Glenys Hannah Martin. But instead, we choose to not remember him. The man said that he was participating in 7 months of constructive withdrawal from the party. If you take 7 months to pull out, you trying to get somebody pregnant. This man can't do nothing right. Time now for an important message to the ladies. You need to fire your boyfriend forthwith. If his contract has been extended, terminate it. If he is on a month-to-month, disengage it. Fire. Let me come closer. You need to fire your boyfriend and instead treat yourself to a box of artisan popsicles from Pop Stop. They have a special going on this Valentine's Day. It's like this week, I decided to try something new and went out on a remote instead of remaining in the safety of the studio. Here is how it went.
All right, you know, they say that exercise is important, so I'm out here at this ungodly hour. What time is it, Jeff? Good. I actually wanted the time. 11:20 a.m. There is nobody else who is dedicated to exercise and fitness as me. As you can see, the road is 100% clear. No one's awake yet. Let's go. I know I clapped twice. Nice and ashy.
Yeah, good stuff. He's healthy.
Chicken's done. We are here at Dungeon Fitness. You might be wondering why I'm sweating already, because we shot this out of order. So, congratulations, you know that I didn't die. Spoiler alert. But we're here today with the trainer. Could you tell them what your name is?
Good day, everybody. My name is Maxim Delancey. I am
He's a monster.
and head coach of the Dungeon Fitness. And today I just ran Steven through a quick assessment and a light, fun workout, as I was told to provide something nice and fun and cool. So hopefully he did feel that experience.
Sure. Okay. Well, let's get into it, because this part comes first. I'm very excited. I have no idea what's coming up.
Before we got started, Delancey wanted to know some information on me.
All right, so when it says, do you work out at least 3 times per week? Like this week?
Once he was thoroughly disappointed with my physical history, we began with a warm-up. Part of me is inclined to believe that he tailor-made this routine for me. Low-impact yoga-type exercises. I mean, how hard could it be to roll your ankles? You think. But I mean, apparently it's very difficult because I couldn't get it right. Also, things that look really, really good when you do it in slow motion. I mean, look at this guy. Peak physical specimen of editing. Also, we're gonna censor this part. There's a lot of testicles in this shot. While I will admit, during the workout, I felt very much like I was going to throw up at some point. Afterwards, I felt better. You know, I feel like this was a good use of 45 minutes of my time. Piece of cake. Hey man, who's my ankles? Most I'd be unconscious, but that was exciting.
So, what's your favorite part?
The end.
Okay.
When the clock went off.
Fair enough.
You know, at first I was like, this sounds like a trap. But you know what? You know what I've learned? Cuffing season is a lie. We've had a cold front now for a whole month. Ain't nobody DM me yet.
No.
So what's the point of being big? I was like, cheap I get working on my summer body now.
So winter coat comes off, now we go into summer body.
Now we're going into summer. So, you know, sometimes it's gonna be a little hard, guys. But we will use creative editing angles to make that look cool. So tell them how they can get in contact with you if they also wish to shed their winter apparel.
Very true. You can reach out to thedungeonfitness.com. You can check our website. You can check our Instagram. And then, of course, they will run the name by name and number where you can contact us at the Dungeon Fitness to book your sessions and then get everything together.
All right, here you have it. Now somebody is going to take me to the door.
Finally, the government announced that they are targeting 80% of the population for the COVID vaccine. And this has me torn in many ways. I mean, there are so many pros and cons that I feel that we need to think about. I mean, like, should government officials be the first ones to take it? On the pros list, if there's something wrong with the vaccine, they'll be the ones to drop down dead. But the con is, if the vaccine works and does what they say it does, it means that they'd get access to it and probably outlive us. On the pro side, if they get the vaccine first, the nurses will be able to use the Bill Gates technology to track down minutes when they inevitably don't get their money. But the con, this vaccine isn't recommended for people over the age of 64, according to France, which means that everyone in the House of Assembly probably shouldn't take it, except for Adrian and Travis. Pros, if enough people get the vaccine, then we can all go outside and just think about how much money you're going to save just on food delivery. Like, why am I paying a percentage of the overall bill and a tip? What are you, the government? It's worse than customs when I'm bringing something in. Con, many people have forgotten how to bathe. Between the cold fronts and COVID, I mean, people have not been bathing as much, and they're going to be very ashamed when they get this vaccine and their friends are still not hanging out with them. But despite all of these complicated thoughts, there's something more complicated to me. Why are all the people who was hitting coke in the 80s and are now pastors or employees at ZNS afraid to take the vaccine or wear a mask properly? I mean, I don't think that the mask is stopping you from breathing. I think it might be the mound of coke that you hit in 84 is still trying to clear itself out your nostrils. Why? In reference to the Nygaard scandal, there are a lot of people making it a political football, and that is not what we need. I mean, if you watched the documentary, you heard about people trying to go to the police, but both police and politicians were allegedly silent and complicit. And that makes me feel like not only were those girls powerless, but also that I'm powerless. Because I mean, who can I run to if I'm wrong, but I'm not super rich? A friend of mine asks, what is it that we can do? And the truth is, we as Bahamians really only have one power to rely on, and we've relied on it for the entirety of our time as a country. And no, it is not bursting people with a full bottle of Kalik. It's shame. We must continue to shame the people who do have the power to make a difference and call them out. If the commissioner of police says that there are no records on file of any complaints, fine. We demand an investigation to be open now. And it's not enough to say the PLP got some money from him. We want to know where all political parties are getting their money from and how much. Those shirts and fancy ads have to come from somewhere. We want legislation now, Attorney General Carl Bethel. Otherwise, what you're saying is that it's okay for this to happen. If a person has enough money, they can get away with violating and destroying the lives of Bahamian citizens.